Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, today I'm really excited to show you a brand new drone from Holystone. This drone is just about to be released at the time of this video, or it could be a few days out still. This will be Holystone's premium drone, the top of the line drone, with the best specs that I've ever seen from anything from Holystone. This is the HS720R. Now, if you're familiar with the HS720s in the past, of course, HS standing for Holystone. The 720s, but always the top of the line. It started with the 720E, which was just for EIS. Then he went to the G for Gimbal, and then this one is R, which I'm not exactly sure if that is what the R is in the next line of drones, but this is their premium one. This, as you can see, this has a 3-axis gimbal on it, and it does have EIS as well to work with that gimbal. And aside from 3x gimbal and the GPS and the brushless motors, it does have a advertised 3-kilometer range. That's the big difference. And the time-lapse photography, that is going to be sort of what you see on like I know the MAVIC 3 Pro has it, where the drone can fly in different patterns and take time-lapse photos, and then it compiles it into the video. And this drone does that. It will take snapshots, and on board of the drone itself, it will process that into a video that's saved to the micro SD card. So as we can see here, it comes with a really nice, this is a really nice carrying case, a little better than ones I've seen in the past, and just really nice quality carrying case. And there is the drone. So let's go ahead and take a look at the drone, and we'll take a look at accessories and everything else that comes with it. Now, of course, it is foldable. You got your gimbal guard on here. Let's go ahead and fold out the arms. They do snap nicely into place. And that way we can go ahead and take off the gimbal guard, and I can show you guys the 3-axis gimbal. And I have flown this, and I actually have filmed the test flight. So I have quite a bit of input, even though this is going to be posted prior to the test flight. So I don't want to post that video until it's actually available to be purchased from Amazon. Otherwise it's sort of pointless because you can't buy it yet. But yeah, this seems like a pretty decent gimbal, and it works quite well. I didn't see any weird shakes or any kind of erratic behavior. The horizon looked really level, though there's times there could be a slight tilt, but you can adjust that manually in the app. And you can also do a gimbal calibration, which I did. So the gimbal seems to work quite well. It has a spot here for your micro SD card. I don't have one in there right now, but you can support up to, I believe it's 128 gigabytes. And they want you to use a class 10 or above. Because this camera shoots at 4K at 30 frames per second, which it says right here on the front right arm. You can also shoot at 1080p at 60 FPS if you want a smoother but slightly lower resolution video. Has some time of flight, I think is what Marcus calls these, like the I think they're like infrared sensors there for detecting the ground. And it has a very small pinhole. I hope that's it's so small I can't even tell, but I suspect this is a super tiny optical flow camera. But I've never seen one with such a small, that is a pinhole camera if there was a pinhole camera on it. In fact, let's look at the box. Did they mention anything here? They mention the EIS, 4K, follow me, and point interest. They don't mention anything about optical flow, I don't think. They just have a little more information here on the side about independent ESCs. So 2200 kV motors in here, and a 2.4 gigahertz communication. That's the transmitter works on that. That's not actually the Wi-Fi frequency that this drone does also use. This one that I have here just comes with one battery. This is a lithium polymer, a LiPo high voltage battery. It's close to 3000 milliamp, 2950, so just about 3000 milliamp hour. And again, it's rated at 7.7 volts. Your standards are usually rated at 7.4, so it's a little bit more voltage, a little bit more power. If I hold this button down, you'll see the lights light up, and it should go to around 2 because I've already flown it, so it's around half voltage, which is about where you'd want to store it at if you were going to keep this on the shelf for a while. And it charges through a USB-C port. You can use any USB-C cable that charges. It has charging capability. including the one that they do give you with this. So let's go ahead and put it back in there. You got the little prongs on top that you have to line up, and it just snaps in place. And you can see I bumped the button. Let's go ahead and hold this down, and it should turn off. And there we go, it went off. Here you can see some lights were flashing, and it's got some lights here on the front arms. Reposition it there, you guys can see. And it has one here on the rear along with the light battery indicator lights on the battery. Let's go ahead and take a look at the controller as well on this. It's pretty nice, but pretty standard type controller that the Holy Stones come with. You give you a little cheat sheet here, and you have the little hand grips that pop down. You've got your USB-C charging in here because there is a, I think it's a 1S, a LiPo or lithium ion pack inside of here. And you can pull out the phone clip holder. And it does have two antennas, and unlike a lot of the drones, they are both real. Lots of times on the really cheap toy drones, they're all fake. Both of them, they're just for looks. And many times in the hobby grade, or lower end hobby grade, I should say, you have one real and one fake. But this one, both are real. You've got a wire inside of both of these, so that tells you that both of those are real. And what I suspect is the case, one of these is probably the controller, 2.4 gigahertz for the controller, and one of them is probably your Wi-Fi antenna. I don't know which one's which, but I'm pretty sure that's probably how this operates. You've got some indicator lights here for the controller and the aircraft in return to home. They will light up green when it's doing something. I didn't really pay attention to that when I'm flying because there's so much going on. You don't really notice these little lights. You have your power button here, which you will hold down, and it will beep, and this first light for the controller will flash. It will take it up to 30 seconds. It's kind of slow before it binds with the aircraft, and then it'll let out an audible beep, and this light will go solid. Go ahead and hold it down here, and we'll turn it off, and it beeps again. You've got 3 speed rates here in this middle switch. Far to the left is your low rate, which is they call photography mode. You'll see that in the app. When you switch the speeds, the little text and indicator will change in the app, letting you know. So far left is low, middle rate in the middle there, and then all the way to the right is high, or sports mode is what it will say. And this is your unlock motors, so when you press that in, the motors will fire up, and at that point you can press the auto takeoff button over here, and the drone will go up and hover a few feet off the ground. Or you can also do it off to the far left within the app, which you'll see during the flight review. The app for this drone, I should probably mention that now, it's called the Ophelia Fly app. I'll put a screenshot to that app, and that's a very common app that they've used with some of the other higher end drones. In the top here, you've got your photo button over here to take a photo, and this is your record button to record your 4K or 1080p video depending on what setting. And then you have your dial. This is for your camera tilt on the gimbal. And this is a nice smooth tilt. It's not a herky-jerky one like you see on some of the lower cost drones. And then here is a little box they give you that has your charging cable in here and your spare props. So you get, this one's got the charging USB-C and a Phillips screwdriver in here. And then this one's got your spare propellers in case you would damage them. Of course, I've already flown this a couple of times, so I just used the USB-C cable, charging USB cable I had laying around, and I didn't have to open those up and use it. Inside of the pouch in the front, you have your instruction manual. I don't need to pull that out, but it's going to have your QR code inside there for the app as well. Like I said, the app is rather feature rich. Beginner's mode for me was turned off whenever I went in there, which is odd. They usually have that turned on because they don't know if you know how to fly well or not. You've got a lot of camera settings. You can change the brightness, like the exposure, the ISO. Those are like the advanced features for the camera. And it's probably a good thing because I noticed, as you guys will see when you get to the flight review video that's coming up shortly to the channel, everything looked a little overexposed to me, just on the default settings. The white in my clothes, which they were very bright, it was a sunny day, were very overexposed. But thankfully that can be adjusted within the app, because the app's got your compass calibration, it has your gimbal calibration, your gimbal tilt adjustment, and then it has those camera settings. So again, all that's in the little gear icon or the little equalizer setting below the photos. You can adjust those settings. And then you'll also see it has the time-lapse mode. You've got like a straight mode where the drone will fly in a straight line and take photos at the intervals that you set it. The length of the video, there's a whole bunch, there's like 4 different settings depending on which one you choose. And when you get to the flight review video, you'll see, I mean, the circling mode does work well, but I was a little bit stumped because the glare is so bad outside. I thought that I was adjusting the speed of the circling mode when I was actually adjusting the radius of it. So little things like that. It's also hard, just like it was on the Hubsan HT50 that I reviewed recently, to see the little blue symbol that you have to press to actually disable those intelligent modes. And then it has your basic, outside of the time-lapse mode, you have your just basic circling, your point of interest mode, and you have your following mode. And those both did work just fine once you get used to them, though I thought the follow me was not the greatest. All right, guys, that wraps up the first look, overview, unboxing, if you want to call it, this drone. And like I said, this drone will be available. I think it's going to be around $350, which is not terrible, considering that it does work quite well and it has quite a few features. And I'm pretty sure they'll have a coupon. I think it's maybe 10% off to check and see if they've given it to me yet. But I will include that in the comments, and it'll be in the pinned comment. Once I add that to this video, I won't have it. If you're seeing this video today, it may not be in there because it's not available to buy yet. Around the 26th to 27th of July, it will go live on Amazon. And then, of course, stay tuned to the channel around that date. Sometime in the next few days, we'll get the video out there for the flight review so you guys can see how this drone performs. All right, guys, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. While you gotta click that bell, that way you're notified every time I upload a new video. And as always, guys, have a great day.
The power of the dark side.